Today in Mountain View, a gubernatorial campaign is halted in its tracks by scandal, plus a Dateline feature about a local woman's disappearance, a brothel raid, an apartment fire, and a long-delayed housing project finally nearing opening.
I'm Garrett.
I'm Leah. Welcome to Laid Back Local, the news of the day, with Leah and Garrett, right here in Mountain View.
First up, Eric Swalwell halts his gubernatorial campaign amid sexual misconduct allegations. Swalwell, a seventh-term Democratic congressman from the Tri-Valley, has suspended his run after the San Francisco Chronicle reported allegations of sexual assault and misconduct by a former district staffer and 3 other women. He denies the allegations, and to be clear, he has not been charged with a crime. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office, New York City's prosecutor, has opened an investigation tied to an alleged incident in 2024. Meanwhile, pressure is building from both parties for him to resign his U.S. House seat.
That's heavy. Allegations like this are serious, and the process has to be thorough. Lives and careers are on the line. It's striking how fast a political trajectory can change. 1 week a leading contender, the next a campaign on pause. I want a full, careful investigation so the facts speak for themselves. Next up, Dateline to air story of Mountain View woman's mysterious disappearance in Taiwan. NBC's Dateline, the long-running true crime show, is airing the 2019 disappearance of Alice Koo, a Mountain View resident who vanished during a trip with her husband at Taroko National Park in Taiwan. Koo's body was never found. In a civil wrongful death suit, which seeks damages rather than criminal charges, her parents won a $23.6 million judgment against Harold Hurchin, a Canadian citizen. Later, he was arrested for perjury, allegedly lying under oath over inconsistencies in testimony tied to that civil case. The episode airs April 2026.
That's a heartbreaking mystery, and a $23.6 million judgment is huge. Quick question. How does a civil case lead to a perjury arrest?
Because testimony in civil court is still given under oath. If investigators later find statements that can't be reconciled with the record, they can pursue a perjury case. It doesn't prove the original allegation. It targets the act of lying itself. Also, the exact circumstances of her disappearance remain unknown, so this Dateline episode could bring renewed attention to lingering questions.
All right, let's roll on. Mountain View townhouse raided as alleged brothel, man arrested. Neighbors say they first raised concerns back in December 2025 about steady foot traffic by men at a townhouse here in the city. After undercover operations and surveillance, officers raided the place in March 2026. A 50-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of pimping and pandering, which means profiting from prostitution and recruiting or soliciting clients. He reportedly told police he'd been hired online and paid to open the door for clients, while the women at the scene denied being victims. The home had almost no furniture or personal belongings, which raises questions about how the operation was set up. The suspect was arraigned on 1 count of pimping, with a plea hearing set for May 2026.
Community vigilance really mattered here. Neighbors spoke up, and that kicked off the investigation. The nearly empty house detail is wild. It suggests a space set up to be temporary or low profile. Real talk, I'm glad officers moved carefully, especially with the women saying they weren't victims. These cases can be complicated. The legal system has to sort out who was doing what and why. Okay, let's move on. Renovation error sparks a $200,000 blaze displacing 11 in Mountain View. It happened in April 2026 on the 1900 block of California Street. Fire officials say a kitchen renovation mishap in a vacant unit started the fire, which spread to 2 second-floor apartments and into the attic. Crews made an interior attack with a hose line, called a second alarm to bring in more resources, and then did overhaul, opening up walls and ceilings to put out hidden embers. No injuries were reported. 11 residents were displaced, and the American Red Cross stepped in to help with temporary housing. Mountain View police handled traffic control for about 2.5 hours.
Relieved no one was hurt. Renovation sites are full of hazards. Shut off power and gas when required, use proper heat control with tools, and keep fire extinguishers handy. Big shout to the crews for containing it and to the Red Cross for getting folks a place to land the same day. Last up, contract disputes stall opening of Homekey Palo Alto transitional housing. Homekey Palo Alto is an 88-unit site on San Antonio Road meant to house more than 200 people transitioning out of homelessness. The project ran into serious delays when subcontractor Rico Construction stopped work last November over a payment dispute with the general contractor, DevCon Construction, Inc. Because of the holdup, Life Moves, the nonprofit operator, opened a temporary location in Sunnyvale to meet a state occupancy deadline. Now construction is wrapping up with fire and elevator inspections on the calendar. The site sits near the Baylands Nature Preserve and received $26.6 million in state funding, plus $4 million from Santa Clara County.
It's frustrating when a contract fight slows down urgently needed housing. Why would that state occupancy deadline be so firm?
Usually those deadlines are tied to grant terms. Use the funds by a certain date and start housing people, or risk losing money or future eligibility. Life Moves finding a temporary Sunnyvale option was a smart pivot to keep the commitment on track while the punch list here got finished.
That's it for Laid Back Local, the news of the day with Leah and Garrett here in Mountain View. We hope you have a great day and tune in tomorrow for more local news.